Okay. Why can't I see the screen? Mm-hmm. 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 Um, mhm. Mm.
Hello,
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm a little nervous.
Oh,
I've never hosted a Zoom meeting before.
Oh, you will be wonderful.
We will get through it.
Right, we will. Not a problem. I'm gonna turn on the lights here. It's so gloomy.
Oh, I'm gonna have to send my dog somewhere else. Excuse me. Hey, Griffin, go away. Let's go upstairs. It's okay. Come on. Hey, Steven.
Hey, Robin.
There we go. I think I'm unmuted and I'm on video.
And looking good there.
Why, thank you.
Okay, the dog has been sent away.
I love it when she goes on our walks with us.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not so great when the dog gets excited. It's like a canine doorbell.
Hello.
Hello.
So Miriam, are you still looking for me to take minutes?
No, I think we have Penny here.
So I'm going to try tonight to host the meeting and take minutes on two different computers. Bear
Okay.
with me.
Penny, because you've got to admit people manually, right?
Right. I've got to manually admit people. And I see there are 8 people here, although,
Wow.
Not only 4 are in the meeting.
right, but I don't even see the other one. Oh, I see. Okay. I'll admit Janice.
Do you want to give me screen sharing? So maybe I can do the
Yes.
screen
So
sharing?
I do that by letting you be co-host, right?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, let me just figure out where I do that. I had a 5-minute lesson today, so.
Should be like where it says share screen, there should be like.
Right, I see. I think maybe
click.
I just need to make my screen bigger. Let's see. I see share screen.
Hi, Janice.
Hello.
Hi, Janice.
Hi, nice to see you, Penny.
Yeah, kind of an odd role to be playing.
Yep.
You're doing a smashing job.
Thank you
Well,
so much, Penny, for doing
Yes.
this. We were so grateful when we heard
Yeah.
about it.
well, I'm
Really?
glad. It's been, it's always challenging to figure out how this goes. So this is so funny. I'm not seeing this, the co-host portion.
Probably going to have to learn how to do this too now. All I know is how to attend. I don't know how to do the hosting.
Right. Oh, Miriam, I'm just not seeing it here.
Okay,
Um,
well. It looks like we've got a few more people here.
right. I'm letting
Beth.
people in.
Hi,
So
Beth.
typically, do you
Janice.
just let everyone into the meeting and then figure out what they're here for?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
Okay,
think we can be choosy.
yeah, well,
It looks like we've got the DFW folks.
Mhm.
Is Becky coming to the RDA meeting, public meeting? Penny?
I did not hear one way, I didn't ask her about that. I wasn't sure whether it had been Walter or Becky last time.
No, it was nobody.
It was nobody, okay. So she didn't say she was participating in this.
Okay,
But I believe, just wake up my, it is 7:01.
so we should
And
start.
Miriam, I'm sorry, I cannot figure out how to set you up as co-host.
Okay, all right, well, let's call the meeting then.
Okay,
And we can be a little creative with what order we go in. I think since we've got the folks from DFW here, we should take them first.
Sure.
So the site visit happened, and the three commissioners who are present just need to make a determination that what your decision is, and then we can move on. Everybody else was here, so Scott Kahan wasn't at the site visit.
so could perhaps someone just make a quick statement about what you observed on the site visit for the record?
That would be
I'm
great.
happy to because I did the form. Basically, we checked out a wetland that was across the street from the proposed small parking area, and it was more than 100 square feet, so it falls under the bylaw. But when we took measurements, we were able to determine, okay, here's 100 feet. And so if they stay 100 feet away from the border of the wetland and the buffer zone, so it seemed like they were good. So looking at the recommendations at the end of the site visit summary, we just said no RDA required. Like they can stay outside 100 feet.
Okay.
All right.
So
Do we need
that
to
is-
vote? Do they need to vote on this, Penny?
I think you can just all agree. I'm not, you can do it however you choose, but as long as there's it's obvious that all of the commissioners who were there agreed with that, I think you can move forward.
Okay. So Penny, so Beth, Mary, and Robin are the commissioners who are there. So maybe hear
I agree with that. I agree with the recommendations. This is
I
me.
also agree with the recommendation.
from Beth.
I also agree with the
Okay.
recommendation.
So very good.
Okay,
All right.
so the commission is done with that project.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience, folks. We won't take your time anymore. And,
Thanks for your time as well. We appreciate you guys coming out and making the time to come look at our project.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
sure
hear it was an exciting site visit.
Dramatic.
the weather made it that way, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Little
Thanks
water
again.
never hurt anybody, though.
Yeah.
That's why we had to get your third member, have you send us the name, because I'm trying to write things down and it's raining and the ink is running on the site visit form.
So again, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. All right, moving on. Should we consider the minutes? Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
I looked at them. I think it's just you, me, and Mary who can vote on them. Thank you, Mary, for doing that. That was great.
Yes.
Getting better once you set up and I talked about setting up a format for these,
Yeah,
with Grace too, about,
Yeah.
it just makes it easier to get the minutes going, so.
yeah. So they were great. So I'll make a motion that we approve the June 24th draft minutes as submitted. Second?
I second.
All right.
Who
roll
was, I'm
call-
sorry, was that Robin?
That was
Yes.
Robin. So roll
you.
call, David,
I,
DeFont, I, and Harrington.
Aye.
All right. Moving on. So we have the RDA at 7:45, which is unfortunate that it has to be later. So we'll have to cover that later. Let's go over some of the items on the agenda before then.
May I interrupt for just a minute?
Yes. you
Yeah.
may.
To say that, first, welcome to Beth. Thanks for joining the group. But the 7:45 RDA, just so everyone knows, in case you're here for that public meeting tonight, is going to be postponed, and it will be re-noticed and reposted. There was a snafu that was based on a multitude of problems, and it didn't get to the commission in a fully finished form in time. So if you're here for that public hearing, we're not going to be talking about it tonight. We will just acknowledge at 7:45 that it was an issue, and we will reset another public meeting time at that point.
So I know we've got some folks here, and I maybe just before we move on, let people introduce themselves. I know that it's Melissa, right? Hudasco? Am I pronouncing your last name right? You're
Yes,
muted.
you are.
So Melissa has expressed an interest in being on the commission.
Ah,
So welcome for coming. Appreciate
yay.
it. And then I see someone named Liz. I don't know if you're just here from the public or if you're here for one of the items here.
Hi, yeah, I'm from Mass Wildlife, and I was here about the access improvements at the
Oh,
Cole
right.
property on Pratt Corner Road.
Right.
I missed the intro. Is that still going to be on the agenda tonight? Or...
We already voted
already
on
did
it and it's already done.
Oh, very good. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, thanks for coming. Okay, so we do have a 7:15 RDA for the fire station. Was that right, or is the 7:40? No, the 7:15 is continued. The 7:45 Penny is for the fire station.
Right.
So we're not continuing that, are we?
Okay, you're correct. You're correct. It's the 7:15 Highway
Uh-oh.
Department projects
Right.
is the one that is, I got the times mixed up, sorry.
All right, so let's just go through we can knock off a few items before 7:15. So commissioner vacancies, we're happy and thrilled to have Beth joining us for this
Yay,
meeting.
thank you, Beth. Thank you.
We were very grateful for all of the
Wonderful.
generous people helping us out.
I'm
And-
thrilled.
Yes, yes. I circulated, so there were a couple things that have come up since the last meeting. One of them had to do with quorum calculations. And what we learned is that from the Office of Open Government is that because we're constituted as a 5-member board, even if we have fewer than 5 members, currently our quorum remains the same, which is 3 for making decisions, unless we vote as a commission to reduce the quorum. So that becomes an issue at this point. Now that we have 4 members, we should be okay in most situations unless there's a recusal and we're down some. So I think people just should be aware with some of the projects that if you're in a butter and you need to recuse yourself, to let us know in advance. so that we can make sure other people are attending, I think would be helpful. So I don't see at this point that we need to reduce our quorum calculation at this time. Do other people agree?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I did circulate a draft.
Miriam, can we just send Beth's email address to people?
Yes. Penny, do you have it now? Because I CC'd you and Beth.
Yes, I have it in an email now. Yes, I will
Yeah.
add it to the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
I circulated a draft policy to the other commissioners, and I realized you didn't have much time to look at it. But I wanted to propose to the commission that we adopt a policy of having associate commissioners. My understanding is that we have the authority under the statute that empowers conservation commissioners to do our own appointments for an associate commissioner. So I looked at some other conservation commissions around the state that had associate commissioners, and I looked at how they define those positions. And so I put together a draft policy. And if people feel like they need some more time to think about that and read it before and to consider it at another meeting, that would be fine, or we can pull it up and talk about it now. How would people like to proceed?
So I looked at it and I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So when you were doing this, were you what kinds of projects were you thinking of the person doing? And the second question really is, I don't see anything in there that says, if we needed that person, could they replace one of the members on a particular topic? If somebody can't be there,
They can't vote. They can't be counted for quorum. I don't think
No.
legally.
even for a specific.
No, I don't think so.
instance?
No, it has to be as duly appointed by the select board. But for projects, I mean, the way I'm envisioning it, if we were to approve this, would be that right now, Janice Stone, for example, and Don Locklock have been assisting us very generously and attending site visits. And this would be a way of kind of putting them in a role, especially if we're presenting it to other landowners, like here come the commissioners and we're bringing an associate commissioner along, that would be a bit more formal. And it would also be acknowledging the contributions that these folks have been providing for us. So that was my thought about it, but they would not be voting members.
I think it's a great idea. I had not actually heard of it before, but when you sort of connected it with having consultants come on, which you certainly, can do for third-party reviews and things, to have somebody like Janice with all of her knowledge, historical knowledge, is just somebody to turn to with questions. I think it's a great idea.
What I like about the idea is they have been volunteering their services already, answering questions via email, coming to site visits, and it might be a way of just, acknowledging, okay, we value your assistance. You can be an associate member. I did not know this existed before, but that's why I think might be a good idea.
And it kind of doesn't necessarily, it sort of legalizes that you're using them as a resource, instead of just having this person that keeps coming and then maybe having an applicant or somebody sort of question it.
Right.
Having this set up really makes it, that's a good safety thing.
That was my just thought, that, if we're asking or inviting people who are not commissioners to come on site visits, that there should be some kind of formal role that they have.
We had an associate member pretty much all the time in South Hadley, and for the most part, they were like a member in training, that they could come along on site visits. We usually let them sit up front on the side, but up in front on the table, and had their own little nameplate with associate. And it did work out. They stayed on board and they did come in ready to replace when another member needed to leave or wanted to leave. So it's
Nice.
helpful that way too. And I
Yeah.
just didn't know, I don't remember if there's a limit on how many associates you can have. I don't know.
I think that there is no formal I don't think there's anything. I think it's up to the commission to decide. I'm looking at the policy I drafted, and I think that I didn't put down a limit on how many.
Right.
Okay.
We have them we also have associate members for the historical commission that are the sort of same. They're kind of sometimes people who've retired from the commission, but still kind of want to have their finger in things, or people who have very limited time, but still want to be involved.
And you're sure that the commission would have the authority to be able to create the position and to fill it? I'm just thinking of some of the difficulties we've had with the select board for appointing people. But you think this is something that is in the jurisdiction of the Concom to do?
That's a question. I think that would need to be,
Because I don't know for sure.
that would need to be checked.
I
Because
ran
there would
into
become,
problems.
because if they're going to be a volunteer, that means that they theoretically would need to be sworn in as a town volunteer. The question would then be, do we have the authority? I guess what I would suggest is that if we agree on the policy, that we agree on it, and then we can submit it to the select board.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
we have a slate of associate commissioners that we want to include with that we've agreed upon, we can pass that on as well.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, does anybody, I'd like to make unless there's more discussion, is there any other comments?
So it is 7:15, and I know
Oh.
we're not officially opening the public meeting for the Highway Department RDA. But
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone who's still here is interested in that. But perhaps we should make a decision about what to do right now.
Right, we need to reschedule it.
Right.
And, I think we could theoretically reschedule it to the 22nd, because it looks like both of those public hearings for the ANRADs are going to get continued because they haven't submitted the paperwork they needed. Is that your sense, Penny? Anybody respond to you?
I was in touch with Emily Stockman yesterday, who confirmed that she has not received anything from Maria from TRC. And I sent a follow-up to your follow-up, Miriam, to Maria this morning, saying that we needed to have information from her by today
Okay.
in order to keep to have the ability to consider closing the public hearing for Pratt Corner South at the next meeting. And I checked the email at 6:30 and still hadn't received anything from her. Either no document and no response. So,
Okay, so those are going to have to be continued, which frees up our schedule for our next meeting considerably. So it seems reasonable to me that we could reschedule the rest of the highway projects for next meeting. Let's see, one is at 8 o'clock, and was it 7:30 and 8 o'clock were the two public hearing times?
yeah, I don't have the agendas.
It was in the minutes.
right.
I don't think it's,
I should be able to look at that quickly.
let's see, where are the minutes?
Which project are you looking to reschedule to next week?
The RDA projects for the three other highway projects.
Okay, for all
So,
three of them, you're putting
yeah.
them together, okay.
Yeah. So we have a 7:30 public hearing to 8 p.m. for Pratt Corner South, and I don't see an agreed upon time for Montague Carver. I don't know if there was an agreed upon time for Montague Carver.
I don't see it in the minutes.
Okay, well, if it has to be,
I see that you continued it, at 8 PM. Pratt Corner South is 8 PM.
yeah, I just don't know about Montague Carver. But
Oh, I have that for 7/22 at 8 p.m. on my, both of them. It said
Really?
Montague Carver and South Pratt, 8 p.m., 7/22. That's in my scribbled notes from last time. I don't
Wow.
remember why both were being done at the same time.
that doesn't, I don't think
Mm.
that's quite right.
No, yeah.
And I'm trying to see if I don't have it offhand. So why don't we set the RDAs for 7:20? How would we do that? So in the event that it might have been 7:15, we don't have two at the same time, we can just continue the and move on to the RDAs. Would that be okay?
Sounds good.
Could you just, I just want to write down the correct thing. Could you say again when these are?
Well, Pratt Corner South is 8 p.m. I do not have handy what the time would be for Montague Carver. That's what the question is. You know, if it was, for example, at 7:15, that's why we would have two things scheduled at the same time. So that's why I'm suggesting we do the Highway Department RDAs at 7:20.
Okay.
So we don't have, this is not a public hearing, so we don't have to open it, right?
No, but I just want to make one comment while we're talking about this. So I know the commission did a lot of work last year with Linda to look at the bylaws. And nothing came before town meeting to make official changes. But I would like you to consider this year at least amending the part of the bylaw that states that abutters need to be notified by certified mail. And the reason that this is in my mind is that Linda Scott sent out the abutter notices for this public meeting that we're rescheduling, and it cost $140 to do that. So it's a much less expensive way to do it through the other method. And the town doesn't have to pay for this very often. But I'm just thinking of the general public who might be filing a request for determination. It's a lot to ask of them. So just to tuck away for a future meeting to discuss at the very least making that change in the bylaw, because it states it very emphatically that that's how it has to be done for now.
And you said the other method just sending it as uncertified regular snail mail. Is that what you're thinking?
I think it is. I don't know the process as well. It's I don't know.
There's a certified list
Yeah, it's
of addressees, and then it's something like, I don't know, what is it, Beth, like $1.25 each or something?
But yeah, and it's called certificates of mailing. If you,
Okay.
if you go, like,
that's the term.
yeah, go Google the post office and just Google certificates of mailing, and I'm sure Google has a nice description of what it is, but it's basically you get a certified list that shows that it was mailed, but the only thing you don't get is the signature by the recipient.
Mhm.
That's the only part that's not included, but the rest of it is still, the Concom will still get a nice list that these letters actually were mailed.
Yeah,
Okay, and it's less expensive, you're saying, than the,
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
like it's significantly less.
quite a
expensive.
bit less expensive. So
Okay.
perhaps that can be put on the list of tasks for the upcoming.
Yes, let's put that on. We had lots of discussion about the bylaws and had decided to postpone trying to propose any changes, but let's postpone that for some discussion.
Okay.
All right, so for 7:15, for the highway departments, we're going to push those to the 22nd at 7:20. So we're all set with that.
Are those all different ones, or are they doing it all under one?
3 projects all under one RDA.
Okay,
So that
okay.
might take us a little while to
Okay,
go
thanks.
through those. But hopefully it won't take more than a half an hour. All right, so that's that. To
Just,
get back,
just to get me up to speed, you've already done site visits for those, correct?
yes,
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
yes. Just go back to the item we were on before. I'd like to make a motion that we pass the associate commissioners policy draft as written. Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, Beth, second, so roll call. I define, well, we gotta do this in alphabetical order. So David,
Aye.
Defont, I, Harrington,
I,
Wilson.
aye.
Okay, great. So before we move on, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Janice Stone and Don Wakaluk as associate commissioners. Do we have a second for that?
I second.
Okay, Harrington second, so we'll call David,
Aye.
DuPont, I. I'm sorry, Harrington, I,
I.
and Wilson.
Aye.
I'm just like, why isn't the chair saying something? Okay, I will send an email to the select board about our appointment and the policy, and my guess is that they would probably need to appoint if just because it's a town volunteer situation.
Okay.
That's my thought about it. If you guys are already sworn in as town volunteers and have done all the paperwork you need to do, but if it was somebody who hadn't done any of that, then they would want us to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so MACC dues.
Can I interrupt for just a minute?
Yeah.
Who made the second for the most recent motion?
Robin.
I did.
Thank you.
Right.
It's hard to type and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. I can't.
Hear ya.
So
Yeah, right.
MACC dues, I went ahead and put in the paperwork for us to renew our memberships for all of the commissioners. But I did not include the subscriptions for the MACC handbooks, the e-handbooks. So Penny and I were talking and thought we'd see who wants those, who wants an e-handbook subscription, and then we would put in the additional paperwork for that.
I would just put in a plug that it's really worth having. We used to have the Blue Bible, this giant blue handbook, and I've not really been able to do the other yet, but we just ran into some crises in Hadley, and none of us had gotten our prescription. We paid for them, but we never actually connected. So we were having to call MACC numerous times. What about this? What about this? And anytime you have a question, the e-handbook is there for you. And apparently, I don't know, but I've been told that you can highlight things. It's your personalized copy. You can bookmark
Take
things.
notes. You can take notes. I took
anything
notes.
you want. So for $15 a year, I think it's really worth it, especially if people are sort of new at it.
I agree. Well, I want a subscription for me.
I would like one.
And Robin wants one, and Mary and Beth, you might.
I think I might wait and see how long I'm on the commission, I guess.
Okay.
But I know I agree with Janice. It's really a great resource. So I may want it at some
Can
point.
we get 5 subscriptions even if we don't have 5 members? And
No, it's all personalized. It's
Yeah,
all
I think you have to do it per person. And I would recommend getting one for the clerk as
office.
well,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
For
Definitely.
whoever that ends up being.
Okay.
Yep.
So why don't we get 4 then, since Beth is holding off? So for the 3, for Mary, myself, and Robin, and for the clerk. And you can take care of that paperwork, Penny?
Yep.
Okay, great. So then there's the MSMCP dues, which is,
I can tell you a little bit about that. I pulled out the membership form today just so we would know what it is. So This is the Massachusetts Society of Municipal Conservation Professionals. It's an annual membership. It's only $20 a year. And I can't speak to how much Tessa used it during her time as clerk, but I know particularly during the pandemic, Linda relied on information from them for many, many, many things. So for the small amount of money, it seems like a worthwhile investment.
Definitely, definitely.
They're a really good source. They're always there if you have questions, you can ask them, but they're very thorough, knowledgeable, and they offer tons of examples of any kind of paperwork that you may have to do, and even things like on, dog problems and tree problems and everything. They're just amazing.
Well, yeah, so I'll make a motion that we approve the annual dues for our land use clerk. Do you have a second?
I second. that
Robin
we renew
seconds.
The dues.
Okay, David,
Aye.
DeFont, aye, Harrington,
I,
Wilson.
I,
Okay, so moving on. I saw on the agenda renewing commission officers. I'm not really sure why that was on there. That was from Tessa.
Actually, that was from me via
Oh,
Linda, who
okay.
said that it's always a good policy at the beginning of each year, which July 1st is the start of the year for the town, to re-elect any officers within the commission. And Miriam, I know you were just elected, but Linda thought it would be wise to re-elect you as chair. And I don't know if you have any other officers, whether you have a secretary or.
I don't think we do.
No, okay. So then I guess perhaps if everyone agrees, someone from the commission can move to appoint Miriam as chair. And I guess Miriam, you shouldn't do that.
I probably shouldn't do that.
So I'll make a motion to accept for this year, starting July 1st, to appoint Miriam as chair for the committee.
I second. Robin seconds. Okay. David,
Aye.
DeFont abstains. Harrington
I.
and Wilson.
I.
Okay. Thank you.
Miriam, I have one other suggestion, or maybe Penny.
Yeah.
It's good to have a vice chair, just because, like in the case where we've just lost our chair and you just lost your chair, on some forms like emergency certifications, it says chair or designee. So depending on whether, you're able to have a meeting and designate someone else, it's sort of nice to have a vice chair. So if the chair is not around, the vice chair can, do the basic paperwork or something that may need to be done.
Okay.
If you want to.
All right. Any takers for that, you guys?
That's the hard part.
Crickets. Well,
You
I'll
can think about it.
I'll nominate Mary to be the vice chair. Is there a second?
I second.
Robin seconds. Okay, so roll call.
Does Mary get to weigh in on this?
No, she doesn't.
It's like, where's the choice here? As long as that doesn't mean that if you leave, I'm suddenly chair.
That's right. All right, so
Okay.
let's vote. David, do you want to vote, Mary? No.
I don't think I get to vote if they're voting on
No,
me.
Mary, you can abstain. Okay, DeFont, aye, Harrington
I.
and Wilson.
I.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Mary. Okay, so site visit follow-ups and site visit scheduling. So there was the 579 West Pelham Road well project. And who did the site visit form for that?
Mary did.
Mary did?
So I did the form. This was a site for a new well project that had been approved by the Board of Health. And we went out to look at the wetlands and the distancing and where the proposed project is not within outside of the 100 feet. It would require taking down a lot of trees just to drill the well. So that was a concern. but it's outside and far enough away from any of the wetlands. There also was a second site to look at, which was closer to the driveway. That was also not within the wetlands, as another option to look at, which had less trees. But basically the project is, not in the, it's
It's
okay to
outside,
proceed because it doesn't, fall within any of the wetlands.
outside our jurisdiction. Yeah, it was a tricky site. They like had no locations that were good for, they're gonna have to put the well right next to the road, which is
Yeah.
less than desirable.
And unfortunately, it's all tree to take down to actually drill the wells. So
Yes,
it's gonna be a,
yes. All right, so, so we've let the applicant know that there was no further action they need to take. We've already covered the Pratt Corner Road project. Now, I have two things on my list for site visit scheduling. One is the 16 Cornwall Lane building permit, right, that we had to
Right, and I'm
do.
still working with Donald Fletcher, who is on vacation in Maine. And he is trying to arrange someone to go to his property and stake the site. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. He's trying to get it done over the weekend, so it would be ready for the commission at their convenience next week. And he has given permission for the commission to visit the site.
Okay.
what is the project?
He is putting on a screened porch and it says addition. I don't know what the addition is.
All right, so anybody want to look, what looks good for people's calendars?
I'm gonna have to leave the room to go get our house calendar because we got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. My daughter's visiting next week. So
Something towards the end of the week.
Yeah. Do you want to do it again at the end of the day, which is what we've done before, so that if Don or Janice wanted to join us, they could?
Yeah, the late afternoon is great for me. And next week, I think, I'm here, I'm working, my kids are doing camp. So anytime after 3:30, any evening is great next week.
Okay. All right, we'll wait for Robin to come back.
So while Robin is coming back, let me ask how you have been doing the paperwork. Are members just printing out the site visit form and someone is filling it out? And how are you? So I printed out a map, a wetland map of the site, and I
That
can
would be great.
send that to all
would
of
be great.
you or one of you.
No, it'd be great to send it to all of us, I think.
Okay, I'll do that next week when I'm in the commission.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, people have been just, volunteering to handle the site visit form, and then people have been scanning it and sending it digitally.
Okay. Okay.
Does that
So
work for everybody? Does that work for everybody? Everybody has
Yeah.
Yeah,
scanning. I just scan with my phone.
it would be nice. Do you actually, Miriam, I noticed you have a electronic copy of that? Because we're all just photocard. I don't have an electronic copy. We just go.
I have a
and-
PDF. I just scanned it and have a PDF copy. If you want to, the
Oh,
PDF of it.
Is that what? Yeah, I mean, it might be nice to send people. 'Cause, all I have is paper copies that I keep copying.
Okay, well, I can send the PDF to everybody.
In case somebody wants to just type them out.
Yeah,
I'm okay with
Yeah.
handwriting them, but
yeah. Yeah, I'm not typing mine out with a typewriter. I have Acrobat, so I can just
mhm.
modify a PDF. Okay, so Robin's back. So Robin, what's your schedule look for site visit for next week? We were thinking maybe late afternoon again.
Tuesday, I think I am free. That's probably my best day.
The 13th.
Yeah.
Okay. Would that work, Beth? Somebody wanted later in the week. I don't know who said that.
I think that was Mary.
Mary, can you
I
do
mean,
Tuesday?
I could do Tuesday.
Or, you know, you can get two people to go later in the week. That's fine. I mean, I usually can attend these things, so I haven't missed very many. It's not
You can-
horrible if I have to miss this.
It's not horrible.
And I think this is fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
From
I
looking-
don't know where Cornwall is.
It's way down Cooleyville.
Oh,
It's a very open site.
okay. Well, let's do the 13th at 4 p.m. if that's okay with everybody.
Okay.
Can you just tell us the address again?
Yes, just a minute, please. I think it is,
I wrote down 16 Cornwall.
got to just quickly look, here it is. Yeah, 16 Cornwall.
Okay. So the other thing that I saw through the emails was Linda Grebko and some lawn RDA.
I don't think you need to schedule a site visit yet for that.
Okay.
I think you might want to wait until she's a little further along. I just sent her the information yesterday to start the process for the RDA. But it's up to you.
Is this the person who was taking water from the lake to irrigate their lawn?
Yes. So this is essentially submitting an RDA for something she's been doing for a while to bring her in compliance. And this is what Mark Stinson suggested when I called him on Tuesday. So just so you know, there may be other people on the lake doing this. I don't know. I know there is one other person who went through, he filed a notice of intent. He did a major landscaping project and he installed a complicated watering system that has a pump in the lake that that was part of a greater landscaping project. And frankly, I wasn't aware prior to this that it was okay to take water out of the lake, but it is.
And where does it say that it is? Where
Where does it say that it is? It does. Mark Stinson says there's nothing prohibiting it. I don't know that it says that it's okay, but there's no prohibitions. Beth, I don't know if this is something you ever encountered in Amherst.
It was from rivers, not from a lake. So maybe there's a difference there. It was rivers and it was farming that we kept running
right,
into
yeah.
these kind of situations. And I know that there is some repercussions and it depends on sort of the time of year that they're pumping, if it's low flow, that kind of thing. But again, that applies more to rivers than to lakes. So Mark may know a bit more about the lake situation than I do. Mark's a great resource.
Right. Well, I mean, we can talk with him further. One thing I know he did say, and a condition that we put in the order for the project I described before was that whoever is running a system like this is prohibited from doing it during drought conditions.
Right. That's, yeah, it was the same in the
That
river.
would be something you would put in there. I mean, you may, if it were up to me, I would say something like you can only use the system prior to 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it drives me crazy to see these watering systems at 3 in the afternoon on a sunny day where half of it's
To have it
going
being
into the atmosphere. So, you know, I think Linda is open to having some conditions put on this, and those are two that came to mind for me.
Yeah, I think those are very reasonable.
So aren't we in a drought condition at the moment?
We were.
I think we just came out of it. And ironically, that's when people might want to use this, but
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's like a tropical forest near my house right now. Okay, so looking at it is 7:45, so we should move on to the fire station RDA public
Good
meeting.
timing.
It is. So just as a reminder to refresh everybody's memory, this is where we did the original site visit and on the 15th, and I made an error on the site visit form and didn't, I made an error. I didn't record the proper observations. And so we went back on the 28th and did a second site visit and took a look at the vegetated strip between where the, if you can remember, on the western side, there was this ramshackle old silt fence that was put in place 3 years ago that was never removed. And then there was like about a 6 to 7 feet lawn strip, and then there's the area that they're going to be paving. So Penny and I were talking about what possible conditions we might want to put on the negative determination. Should we pull those up? Do you want to do that, Penny?
I will try. Hold on just a minute. And I will just note that in the determination or in the request, Walter Tibbetts did include the fact that he would try to grade this so that it any runoff flowed away from the wetland.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he did listen last time we went through this. Okay, I gotta make one thing smaller and one thing bigger. Just a minute.
Mike, just one thing I've been thinking about, and Penny and I were talking about this, and I had the same feeling about the parking lot repaving for the highway department, is that, you know, it's very clear that because of snow plowing, a lot of debris has been getting plowed into the wetland area. And that's just my concern, is that, you know, there's going to be salt and sediment that's getting progressively encroaching on the wetland after it's paved. So,
Can you make
Penny-
them plowed in a different direction?
well, Penny and I were talking about the idea of requiring them, and that's why it's too bad nobody's here from the highway department, because they might object to this, but the idea of putting in an asphalt berm around the edge of the asphalt that would discourage plowing past that point.
Well, apologize. I am not getting this document to show up. It should have showed up. I thought I did what I needed to do. I did send everyone a copy of the draft. Let me just try one.
When you hit share screen,
Oh,
it doesn't give you a choice.
And Walter Tibbetts just asked to join the meeting. So
Oh, great.
Oh, good.
So my 5-minute lesson seems to be failing me here.
Hi, Walter.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
We're just starting to have the conversation, so your timing was great.
I apologize. I can't get it to share. Do people have the copy that I mailed out about an hour before the meeting? And Beth, I'm not sure I
do.
have your email address, but you haven't been on this site visit anyway. Right. Okay.
So Walter, we're just going to talk a little bit about special conditions that we might want to put on the determination of applicability. And one of our concerns is obviously where water is going and the grading of the parking lot. But the other concern was that snow plowing can sort of move sediment into that vegetated strip between the parking lot and the wetland. And we were wondering about the possibility of an asphalt berm on the edge of the parking lot edge along that western side.
All right.
What do you think about that?
That's perfectly acceptable. That gives, I was thinking if nothing more, at least making the berm higher than the actual, driveway, which will help control the where we direct the water to.
Right.
We would just put that into the specifications for the paving to make a berm on that, along that edge there.
Okay, so that's good to know. So we're having a problem with screen sharing, I guess. So I'm wondering, it's unfortunate, but I could just read through the conditions the draft conditions. The first one, no construction in rain conditions or while it's raining.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of hard to do anyway. So I'm just gonna turn the radio down. Hold on. But
Right. So that's non-controversial, but we'll put it in anyway.
Yeah.
The second condition was that an erosion sock would be oh, Penny did
I
it.
got it.
What-
Yes.
Gosh, I feel so tech savvy.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. I can't see the whole thing though, but I can see most of it.
Can you see it?
Ah,
Bill?
Yes,
yes.
you did it, Penny.
Oh, you got it.
Good.
That's great. So, so people want to take a moment and just look these over before we discuss them.
you can get one at a time if you want.
Okay, so first one, no construction in rain conditions. Second, instead of a silt fence, we talked about an erosion sock.
Okay, it'll probably be easier to install.
Yep, a lot easier to install. Erosion sock will serve as a limit of work. The removed material be properly reclaimed. No excavated material or removed asphalt will enter the wetland. Grading, as we discussed, such that the runoff will flow away from the wetland, and then the asphalt berm. Erosion controls removed after the completion of the project. And this is what we were talking about, that 6-foot swath. So between where the erosion control goes, there's about a 6-foot swath before you hit the concrete test well pads.
Right.
And what we'd like is for that not to be mowed and to just maintain it as a natural vegetative buffer.
Okay.
That's a-
Question, what happens if vegetation such as even invasive, bittersweet and all that starts growing in, things start coming out into the parking area where they're hit by the vehicles as they're pulling in and out? Is there any?
I would recommend that you mow it at least once a year in the
Yeah.
fall.
That's what I was going to say, is that I'll mow it once a year.
And certainly I would think it's a practical thing to remove anything that grows onto your parking area.
Right.
Right.
If any tree, you don't want woody growth
Right.
taken over. So that seems fine that you mow it once a year.
All right. So could we change that in the conditions to be mowed no more than once a year?
Yeah, in the fall.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
So
number 9.
no more than once a year, and mowing should be done in the fall.
Yep.
Because as it stands right now, if you left it that way, then we're in violation if we do anything like that.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Okay. And I think, Walter, would you feel more comfortable if it actively stated that you may remove any vegetation that
Overhangs or something.
overhangs?
Yeah, if there's some kind of wording in there. I mean, we're not going to take advantage of it, obviously.
Sure.
I mean, or abuse it, but as things start coming in, like I said, we need most of that room for making the turns with the vehicles and pulling in to be able to back up. I'm fine with stopping the asphalted surface about where it is because they are cab overs. The wheels would still be on the asphalt, but there still extends out 5 feet past the wheels. And if we allow things to grow right up to that, where the asphalt would end, we'd be driving into stuff all the time.
Yeah. Okay. And then the 10th condition, the paved parking area will not extend any closer to the wetland than is now existing.
Well, if you read that word for word, we can't asphalt them because there is no asphalt there.
Well, I was thinking about that. Let's say the parking area, the paved parking will not extend any closer than the existing gravel parking. Drive. You want to do that?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments about this? So, Penny, do you want to pull up?
And just one question, this is what we talked about last time we were worried about water runoff, is, I actually watched the water flow today on one of the heavy rains, and it would be fairly easy, especially with a berm at that edge, to take at least 75%, 60 to 75% of that west side and have it pitched towards the south, so the water goes into the grassy area first, and then would eventually make its way, into the wetland, but it wouldn't be going directly into it.
That's
I think sounds good.
As for everything that's coming down the road, actually, since they dug through with the water line, it actually changed the topography a little bit, whereas most of the water is staying out along the road and building up in front of the stone wall and then slowly seeping in. So it's not running directly into the wetland as it used to. So if we
Good.
keep somewhat of that, it would also help with that.
That sounds great. Penny, do you want to share the DOA form and do the signatures? We can vote on it.
Yes, now,
So you probably have to change what you're sharing.
I do. So do I have to unshare this? Is that what I do?
Are you just sharing your desktop or are you sharing through Word?
You got me, Miriam.
So far, so good.
You're doing it though. That's the
Yeah.
important thing.
It looks like Word maybe, but I don't know.
It does look like you're sharing it Word.
Well, it
So-
is a Word document, and because it's more information that fits into the form, it will be an attachment.
Yes.
Mhm. Yep.
So if you close this, you might be able to open the other form and maybe it'll show.
Okay.
If you just close this Word doc, we'll see what happens.
Let me try.
Oh, and that stopped it. That just stopped it. So now if you try to open the
Yeah.
other document,
Yep, let me get back to Street. I think I've got it.
yeah.
Hey, all right.
Oh, God. Well,
Quick, you're doing it.
So I filled in most of this. So just a quick reminder, you need to close the public meeting and vote
Okay.
on
All
this
right.
before we really fill this out.
We vote to close the public meeting?
And I guess issue a negative determination
All right.
with conditions.
All right. So I move that we close the public meeting. Do we have a second?
I second.
Robin
Close.
Harrington seconds. Roll call. David
Aye.
DeFont. Aye. Harrington.
Aye.
Wilson. Leslie. Doggy.
Where is that chair?
Sorry. Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion that we approve the RDA with we approve the determination of applicability with a negative finding?
I move that we approve the determination of applicability with a negative finding
And the conditions that we agreed upon.
and the conditions we agreed upon.
I'll second that. And David
Aye.
DeFont. Aye. Harrington
Aye.
and Wilson.
Aye.
Okay. So Penny, then you can do the signatures, right?
Well, no, I didn't practice doing that.
I think you have to do it. I think you have to do it in front of us.
Okay, so I just type your name in front of us.
Yep.
So let's go down to
So it's a negative determination.
determination. Oh,
Yep.
this form is very jumpy, sorry.
So what you might want to do under number 3 is just say C special
I will
attachment
say,
A,
Yep, see.
special conditions. Okay. I think you got a typo.
Yeah,
Go
Sorry,
back up.
I can only do one thing at a time at my advanced age. See attachment A. Oh,
DI.
and D. C.
Nope, you still need an I. All right.
I don't think that's right, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And Walter, are you comfortable if we hand deliver this to you by putting it in your town hall mailbox?
that would be fine, yes.
Okay, I will do that tomorrow. Oh, goodness. Okay, so Miriam, how does this work?
I think that you just type in our names and that constitutes a signature, given that we are doing this remotely now.
Okay. So Miriam, may I type in your name?
You may type in our. So Mary David.
May I
Yes.
type in your name?
Yes, thank you.
Robin Harrington. May I type
Yes.
in your name? And I think that is sufficient.
No, wait,
Oh, Beth.
Uh,
and Beth
Oh, no.
vote?
Beth was part of the site visits, right?
No, she wasn't.
So I think she wasn't appointed when
Oh,
this
okay.
was
Right.
opened either, so she
Okay.
can't vote on this particular issue.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. All right. I think we're done with that piece.
Right.
So you can stop the screen sharing now.
okay, I just stop the screen sharing now. Perhaps I can. Here it is. Okay. Okay, I think we're done, Walter.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go back
We'll
to
see
training.
you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. Okay, so we're doing pretty well. I'm thinking, did we have any other items that we have to cover tonight?
Don't believe so.
I think we pretty much, this is the shortest meeting ever.
No, so far so
Done
good,
by
guys.
8 o'clock. There are some items for future meetings. There was the planning board is going to be scheduling a site visit for the Wheelock tract. I guess we should find out is which commissioners are interested in participating in that site visit.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, I would be too.
Mary Beth, Robin, do you want to be a part of it?
I could go either way.
Okay. Penny, would you want to be a part of that?
Well, I know that I'm not being paid to go on site visits, but I have a long-term interest in this project, and it would do my heart well to see that there was some vegetation growing there.
It would, wouldn't it? Okay, so
Can I,
Robin-
can I suggest that at some point for a future meeting that you guys discuss an environmental monitor for that project? And
For
someone like Penny, actually, who knows what they're looking at as far as vegetation. There's been a very long time lapse between managers of this project, different managers of this project, and the actual report that's taking place for the planning board. Maybe this is something you want to talk to the planning board about. I don't know.
I don't know if we have the authority to require our own environmental monitor and have the owner or the operator pay for it. But I think what we can do, Don, is we could vote to make a formal recommendation to the planning board and a request.
I think you're right, Miriam. I think because the entire project was outside of the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, we have been, the commission has been invited to the site at the pleasure of the planning board.
Right.
And they've been happy to have us, but I agree that what you're suggesting, Miriam, is the way to go.
So would somebody like to make a motion? And then we can, they're going to be meeting on Monday and I could send an email with the feedback of whatever the motion is. If nobody does, I'll make a motion. So I'd like to move that the Conservation Commission formally recommend to the planning board that they hire an environmental monitor. I believe is it still using their 53G authority?
I
Does it still
don't
fall
know
under
that they can
53G?
still do that once the special permit has been issued.
Hmm.
I don't
Okay.
know the answer to that. I think that account may have been closed out.
Okay, well, an environmental monitor. For site visits and to, and I think that's just a good, I've spoken up at planning board meetings about this, by the way, because if they're going to be more solar projects, I think they need to have an environmental monitor for all of them, but.
And I will back up and say that there was an environmental monitor during the entire construction process. But once construction came to an end, that relationship ended as well.
Was that with Time Bond?
No, it was whatever New England Environmental is called now.
Wicca.
Isn't there something in their requirement to have ongoing monitoring and reporting?
They're supposed to do an annual report, but there was no third-party review component where there would be an independent monitor.
Yeah, I think that's something you're going to have to push for future projects. I think it's going to be hard to institute that in hindsight. And I think what you can recommend is that the planning board continue to have members from the commission go along on the site visits. And I think the thing you might want to recommend to them most strongly is that the planning board do a site visit at least once a year. It's remarkable to me that I think only 2 planning board members have been to the site.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to revise my motion. So I would like to, my motion is that we recommend to the planning board that they conduct at least once a year site visits with commissioners, inviting the commission to attend. How's that sound? Any seconds?
I second that.
Okay, Robin seconds that. Okay, David?
Aye.
DeFont, aye. Harrington
Aye.
and Wilson.
Aye.
Okay. So I will reach out to them with that, and I will also see what they're planning for a site visit and try to coordinate it with Mary Beth, Penny, and myself for doing that visit.
And I would just like to clarify, I didn't want to give the impression that I wasn't interested at all. It just, next week is like insane, but if this is going to fall outside of that, or who knows, maybe it'll be one of the little slots where I'm available. So just include me, let me know when you're thinking of going and I might be able to go.
I don't think it's going to be next week.
No,
Okay.
it's a complicated thing to schedule because even the planning board can't go there unless there's a representative from. I forget the name
And
of it.
definitely include me
Nexera.
in the email, okay?
And since the company that runs it now is based in Florida, they have to fly someone in somewhere.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Keep in the
don't.
loop.
Yeah, well, they had a discussion with a representative in Florida, and he was talking about how vegetated it was, but I don't think he had been up here since before the pandemic, so I'm not really sure how he knew that. But anyway, on the related topic, because I would like to participate in that site visit, I just want to note here that I am in a butter, and so I have a presumed conflict of interest, and there is a process. I had a consultation with the State Ethics Commission about my conflict of interest and how to resolve it. And if I obtain a specialized appraisal by a qualified appraiser who determines that there is no economic impact of the solar project on my property values for the better or the worse, and that appraisal report gets approved by the Ethics Commission, I can submit it to the Select Board, and then I'm automatically unrecused. And there are several people in town government who are also dealing with conflicts of interest because they're abutters to the various solar projects. So it's becoming a bigger issue. There's about a half a dozen people so far. The Select Board very generously agreed at their meeting this week to reimburse people. So I'm going to be getting reimbursed, hopefully. For this, I've already hired the appraiser. They've already come out, and their reports can be coming in a couple weeks. So by August 1st, I should be unrecused. So I'm hoping we can do the site visit after that. So that's that. And it's late. I think maybe we could have an early meeting. I don't think we absolutely need to go through all these other items. Are they any of these time critical, Penny?
Mowing, the Rostason Gang Conservation.
Oh, Charlie Eisman. That was one we needed to deal with, right?
I don't know. Has anyone contacted Barry Field to ask him if he would continue to work on our behalf for that?
No.
No. I'm happy to get in touch with Barry about that if the commission is okay with it.
Okay. That's fine.
And then
do you want to explain the Charlie Eisman issue?
I talked with Miriam briefly about the Sumner Mountain conservation restriction, which I don't know if anyone on the current commission has been there. It's a physically challenging site. It's very steep and pretty rocky. And so the commission has an account with some money in it from when the property owner did the conservation restriction that this money can only be used for costs associated with the conservation restriction. And because of the challenging aspect of the site, the commission has hired Charlie Eisman, who used to work for Kestrel, and I believe perhaps did the baseline survey for this site. Anyway, he's been hired to do the site visit and write the report. And so the commission would need to agree to continue that process. I can look and see when the last monitoring visit was. I think it was last spring, and the commission can decide if you want to vary the time of year. But it might be nice, summer might be a nice time to do it. I think it's been done in the fall and the spring so far.
Okay. And then the funds are paid for out of our account?
It's paid out of the account that is set aside and associated for use with this.
Oh, that's right. There's an escrow. You told me that.
Right. And just to let you all know, the way this works, when the commission agreed to hold the CR, the property owner was required to provide, I think, $5,000 to the commission, which is held in an account. And then 2 other house lots were part of this deal. They're not part of the CR, but the agreement was if either of those sold, more money went into the account. So there's maybe $5,000 in the account, and Charlie charges a couple $100 to do this. So there's plenty of money is the point.
Great.
Good.
Okay, great.
And
So
of course, anyone who wants to go along can go, but it's nice to have an expert, a young active expert do this one.
who doesn't have arthritic knees?
Exactly.
I have arthritic knees.
Me too.
Okay, so anybody want to propose a motion? Okay, I'll propose a motion that we approve hiring Charlie Eisman to do the Sumner CR monitoring this summer. Second,
I second the motion that we hire Charlie Eisman.
great. David,
Aye.
DeFonte, aye. Harrington
Aye.
and Wilson.
Aye.
Okay. Before a couple of things. One is, I think I shared the maps that Liam sent last week. Everybody got to see them.
Yep.
Maybe we can table that discussion for another meeting.
Yep.
And Mary, is there anything you need to share about Lake Wyola? And
No, I'm
How
still
it
working
is.
on that. Still working on it.
okay. All right, sounds good. So I think that we are done for tonight.
One question.
Yeah,
So we don't need to have that extra meeting next Thursday before.
no,
Okay.
we
Yes.
don't, because those other two ANRAD public hearings are not going to be happening. It
Okay.
kind of makes the next meeting.
Just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah. So maybe before we close, since we've got another new person here who is interested in being on the commission. I don't know if Melissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the commission, tell us a little bit about what you're interested in.
Yeah, so my name is Melissa. I live on the lake as well. I'm on the west side. I think Mary's on the east side, right?
Yes.
So we've been here for 4 years, and I don't have an environmental science background. I work in the humanities, but I do a lot of work in eco-criticism. So deeply committed to the land here and kind of tying together science and art. And for the last year, I've run a small forest co-op program for my daughter and 7 of her friends in the woods of the Pinebrook camp. So we've been learning about the landscape and the animals and the beavers and all the things, and very attentive to the wetlands around us. And I've just been learning a lot and just, really appreciating this place, and kind of wanted to get on the commission so that I could help out in another way. I've also been involved on the Lake Wyola Association board in the past. So I have I have some interest in the issues that are happening around the lake with roads and runoff, tree cutting, that kind of thing. And I think that this would be the forum to address those concerns. So that's me.
Well, thank you.
All right.
So
thank you.
our process is that we ask people to come to some meetings and get used to what the commission's about. And then we could have a conversation about, if there's a vacancy or how many vacancies we have, and whether it makes sense for us to recommend you. There, as I mentioned, there is one other person who didn't come tonight who expressed an interest, but I don't know if that person will materialize or not as being interested. So what we'd like to invite is for you to keep coming to the meetings, and we'll see how things shape up in terms of vacancies.
Thank you.
So anyway, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
All right, so
thank you.
should we move to adjourn? Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
May I
adjourn.
make a quick statement before you adjourn?
Oh,
That gets
please,
into the
take it away.
notes.
Go
So
for it.
when I agreed to take on this job of helping you for the next little bit, I had already made arrangements for a trip that takes me away for your next meeting.
Oh,
I leave the day of the meeting for 5 days.
okay.
So I will work with Miriam to have everything organized ahead of time. It means someone else will have to take meeting notes.
Okay.
And someone will have to host the Zoom meeting, and I apologize.
Okay.
The ticket is in hand.
Lucky you.
All right. Well, we're not going to have the ANRADs aren't going to be happening, so that'll make it an easier
Right.
meeting.
Right, and Miriam, if you want, I can work with you to draft some language for the highway department projects, if you
That
want
would
to
be
do that,
great.
so that can go out to the commission ahead of time. And other people, maybe we could do it a few days. Well, we can't really share it before the meeting, other than
Right.
to give it to everyone. We can't discuss it, but,
We can't discuss it.
right.
But if people have conditions that they've thought about that they would like included in that, they can send that to Penny.
Right. That's the good way to do it.
That's the way to do it. So, and then
Okay.
Penny will do the draft and she and
And
I'll
I'll
work
share
on
it
that.
with everybody.
And Mary's going to take notes next time. So thank you, right?
Oh, you're really pushing today.
I,
I did it once, I can try it again.
okay.
But Mary, just as a, I don't know, you maybe did this last time, but what I do is I have a Word document with the agenda there. And I just make notes on the agenda as the meeting goes on.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I
okay.
So
do.
that at least you don't have to write down all the agenda topics. So
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
saves you a lot of time.
What I do is I use abbreviations for who made motions and for the roll call. So, so that usually it's unanimous, but sometimes somebody has to abstain or
Mhm.
somebody says no. You don't always have unanimous votes. So that'd be great. Okay. All right. Very good. So somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So I make
I
a
make a
motion
motion.
to adjourn at 8:21 PM.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right, Beth seconds. And again, welcome aboard, Beth. So David,
Aye.
DeFond, I, Harrington,
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
see you.
Welcome, Beth.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.